Hello everyone, I'm Ganelban, the monster under your bed. So, I'm clearly a Welcome Home fan. I have like 3 AUs, not counting vague ideas and concepts. Let me know if you want to see those, by the way. I'd love to talk about them. But Welcome Home felt like it was made for me. Like, I've always loved the Muppets and puppet themed things. Heck, my mascot is literally a puppet. Yeah, it was kind of expected. I also love Pokemon. It's a little less clear, but there's definitely signs of it on my channel. And actually, one of my many AUs is a Pokemon AU already. It's just a different kind of Pokemon thing. This may surprise you, but I've actually made an entire Fakemon region before based on the Dream SMP when I was still a fan. And I've never posted any of these. Not a single one of them has made it online, except for the 2 box legendaries, which was me announcing this whole project I had. But I was kind of in over my head and started doing all the designing before I made any of the videos, so it never really got anywhere. So in my mind, I'm kind of starting from scratch. I never got any feedback on these because no one's ever seen them. So yeah, I just going on the things that I've learned from other YouTubers who do the same thing. So the first Fakemon I worked on was Frank. He was kind of difficult to make because like at this point was when I decided, you know what, I want most of them to be based on animals, like not even just the animal ones, because I wanted some more variety to it. We love variety here. So that was why it was like so difficult for me to figure out. First off, his typing. You see, I asked Twitter what type Welcome Home characters would be, and I got 2 people's responses. By the way, I love these people. I would die for them. I've never met them before in my life, but I would die for them. Understandably, one said, Frank should be bug type. That made sense. It's Frank. He's known for his knowledge of bugs. So clearly, I made him a grass ground type. Hear me out. First off, yeah, he loves bugs, but that's kind of why I felt weird making him a bug type, because a bug that loves bugs is kind of silly to me, you know? So instead, I played into the fact that he also just loves nature in general, all kinds of plants, and the fact he has a garden. So I made him a grass ground type. Obviously, grass for the grass and other plants, and then dirt for the dirt. I now just have to think of an animal for him. And I struggled. I wanted Frank to be like an animal that's connected with nature or has that association, because all animals are connected with nature and stuff. At first, I was like thinking, hey, you know what? I should make Frank a deer. And then I just kind of sat there for a moment after writing it down and remembered, wait, wasn't there an actual character whose last name was Deer? So I dropped the idea of Frank being a deer, so Eddie could be a deer instead. Honestly, the funniest coincidence of this entire video. So then I went back to thinking, and I was like, hey, you know what, maybe a bear would make sense. But you know what, I really wanted, like, Frank to be smaller than Eddie just because I thought it'd be really cute. So I ended up dropping that and asking my dad for specific animals that he associates with either grass or dirt. And he gave me plenty of good answers, you know, like a Brontosaurus. Which apparently aren't real, by the way. I didn't know that. Well, at least according to my dad. I've not actually done the research to see if this was true. So he kept suggesting things until there was one thing he said. He suggested a weasel. A weasel! These long boys! I had to. It just felt so right. I love it. It's just perfect. Just mwah! Chef kiss. I started with a weasel base so I can get some ideas down and like start polishing it. And after that, I was kind of struggling with how to get Frank's nose in there because I want to get all the important features, the recognizable ones, into this like Fakemon. And to me, that was his nose, his cheek, his long body, which is why I thought the weasel was so perfect, by the way, and his frown. To make his frown more noticeable, I tilt his head upward so you can see it better. And it also adds to a bit of the personality I was going for. Actually, fun fact, I didn't actually struggle too hard with this part of like designing Frank because I had all the ideas down. It wasn't even Pokemon in my mind all that much. It was like a backseat thing, like, oh yeah, I gotta keep an eye on this kind of thing. And I think I did pretty well despite just kind of like subconsciously designing this Pokemon. And that's why I'm so proud of this one specifically, because I wasn't really thinking all that hard about it. It was pretty nice. I changed his eyes to be more fitting because, like, originally it just looked like a normal animal, and I wanted it, like, to also match the grumpy vibe of Frank and just play into the more Pokemon-like designing aspects. I also wanted to make sure it had the long body, which was kind of difficult because, like, all the longer Pokemon are kind of like curled in on themselves, which is kind of hard to do with just a normal creature. So I did figure it out eventually. I kept the longish body, but I did curl it up a bit to like put the tail up and stuff. I also gave him a leaf around his like shoulder areas and the little bow tie thing. to symbolize the plants, because it's like a flower and some grass, but it's also to reference his original clothing that he had, because it just felt a little too fitting. Also, I actually extended some of the petals on the flower bow tie to make it look like a bow tie, but also kind of like a butterfly. It's very subtle. When doing the coloring, I didn't know if I should like stick to the original colors or make up new ones to be more fitting of the type. So I decided if I could like make the original colors work, I would keep the original colors. But if I couldn't, I would just make the original colors the shinies. And I thought that'd be pretty good. For Frank though, it looks more like a rock grass instead of a ground grass if I just stick with the same colors. So I just mixed it up a tiny bit and made the shiny gray. Brown Garden, the garden Pokemon. Despite their grumpy attitude, these Pokemon love caring for others. They always seem to live in gardens where they tend to plant and protect the other garden dwellers. They only ever take what they need and save the rest for the other garden inhabitants. Eddie was tough for me. I knew he was going to be a deer, but that's all I really had. One of the people on Twitter said a fighting type would make sense. So I took that and added normal because I have an addiction to dual typing. So I started working. So I struggled with Eddie's design a little bit. I did have some good ideas though. I made his antlers round, like his hair, and I loved giving him the big round nose and tail. But those are about all I'm proud of. His body felt too uniform and not exaggerated enough even though I tried. Like specifically, I tried to make his legs really chunky to like play into the fighting type a bit better. But I tried to make his all of his legs stronger just made his shape language even worse, and I kept trying to push it and I just never got anywhere. I should have made his back legs like a lot smaller and just like had more of a triangle shape to the body because what I had done here hasn't been working, and the little fluffy neck part would have been a lot stronger if I did that anyway. So despite how small that little design would have changed, I feel like it would have made it a much stronger design that I would have been way more happy with in the end. Also, I hate the gym bit. Like, it's the worst part. I should have done something else. It felt empty without something there, but the gem bit was just, it was stupid. I found it stupid even while drawing it, but it was too late. It was too late at that point, and I just couldn't go back, and I'm so mad at myself for it. I should have done something else, anything else really. The OG colors though, those worked well for the typing, so I could just use those still, and it'd be just fine. I did struggle to find a shiny, however, but it's fine. It's not like it was important. Adhere, the mailing Pokemon. These Pokemon have very high endurance, making them capable of traveling long distances with very little breaks. This, with their loyalty, makes them very popular with all kinds of mailing services. So, after finishing Eddie, I had to go to my D&D campaign that I do every Sunday, and while I was there, I sketched out some little ideas I had for Sally, Poppy, and Barnaby. I'll show you some of those sketches, and I'll explain my ideas when I get to them. So, I was at D&D, and I had a couple of Sally sketches, and then I had this one. So, I just recreated it. So, as for her typing, I made her a fire, for the sun, and lightning for like stage lights and stuff, because I thought it'd be cool for this absolute drama queen. I simplified her star shapes to give her a better silhouette. I wanted to keep the puffy sleeves and shorts or skirt, doesn't really matter, because it would add to the silhouette a bit more as well. I gave her little gemstones so it looked like she had little lights on her, like little stage lights. You can see in the earlier sketches, I wanted to give her like one of those little mask things, those little theater masks. I realized it didn't quite fit her and stood out a little bit too much, so instead I just made it like a symmetrical one and just gave her one of them. So she still kind of had like a motif to the mask, but it wasn't too strong. The fan was just a little idea I had that I loved too much to get rid of. It's just a little dramatic little flair. It adds so much. It's perfect, and I love her so much. I'm so proud of it. Starformer, the performance Pokemon. These Pokemon tend to be very vain, but genuinely enjoy performing for others. They prefer to do this at night, so the lights on their bodies can light up and add to their performance. So I kind of struggled to give Poppy a typing. Obviously, she was going to be a flying type. Of course, she's a bird. But I have an addiction to dual typing, so it was still hard for me. And I was originally actually going to give her a ghost type, and it's because I have not actually given any of the other Pokemon ghost typing, and I thought it kind of matched her shy little demeanor and that she's always scared of stuff, so it kind of made sense. However, Twitter suggested a fire typing would make sense since she does like a bunch of baking, and I couldn't help but agree with that, so I dropped the ghost typing and did the fire type. Plus, it was a lot easier to do a fire type design than a ghost type for Poppy, so yeah, let's see how that goes. So after getting the typing sorted out, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So one of the most notable parts of Poppy in my mind is her little fur fluff, hair fluff, feather fluff, whatever the heck, that thing. And also, if I made it sharper, it would also play into the whole fire typing. So that's exactly what I did. It added plenty to the silhouette, and I just pulled that throughout the whole design. I was originally going to put the fluff all around her neck, but I didn't feel it was nearly as important as the top of the hair fluff. I made her red and yellow to match the whole fire typing, obviously, and it's also fitting to the original colors, but then I had an idea. I wanted to play the rainbow a bit more, just so it's a little more clear. So I leaned into blue fire and made it so that she kind of has both to play more of a rainbow role. And I thought that would be really cool. And I think it looks really cool. And honestly, I think she's one of my favorite ones. A Weather, the baking Pokemon. These Pokemon have incredible control over their fire ability, as they are terrified of bringing harm to others and themselves. They are also known for cooking their own food and sharing it with others, making them very popular with chefs and bakers. Okay, so next is Barnaby. I'm gonna get back to him later. So, Julie, I had no plans for her. Nothing felt right for her. I should have made her a grass type. I was even told by Twitter to make her a grass type. I don't know why, but I decided to make her a lightning fairy type. Which, yeah, at first seems like it makes lots of sense. Like the lightning, she's very high energy, and the fairy type, for very clear and obvious reasons. More so than the lightning. But I should have dropped the fairy type for the grass. At least. This could have made it so much better. And it makes me madder because I changed the typing mid-designing as well. And it wasn't this. So I wanted to keep her monster theme, but also make her one of those humanoid Pokemons like Gardevoir, Gothitelle, and stuff like that. And so obviously I give her a dress. By the way, side note, you can see me start to make the flower dress in the sketches, but I don't. I back down. I should have kept it. I tried sculpting the skirt to look right. It wasn't easy. I wasn't feeling it at all. The only thing I was really proud of, so at this point, were the lightning-shaped horns. I kind of liked the poncho as well, I guess, but it didn't feel very, Pokemon-y. It also damaged the silhouette, which was something I also really didn't like. So I made the poncho something smaller, the little neck fluff. So about when I got to the coloring stage, I had a realization. I didn't like the fairy typing. It felt like a low-hanging fruit. I could be more creative than that. I could make it, funner and make it, a grass type. But it was too late for that. So I had to choose something that I liked more than the fairy type that still felt fitting. So you know what I picked? A fighting type. Well, I know it feels a bit weird, but she has a whole bowling ball collection, right? So it made some sense to me. It's yeah. And I can make that fit a bit better. So, yeah, she's a fighting type now. I should have made her a grass type, though. Did I? No, I didn't. It would have been so much better if I did, but I didn't. So, yeah, it's kind of clear. I'm not very proud of this design. I do think it kind of looks like a Pokemon, but not really. It's kind of like a weird mish. It's not a very good one, but hey, I tried. And I'm not doing this again. Rifle, the Joy Pokemon. These Pokemon have an unwavering amount of energy. They convert it into electricity so they can disperse it while playing. These Pokemon are known for being very strong, but also gentle with weaker Pokemon. These Pokemon are also known for how much they just like to have fun. I was super excited to do Howdy. I had no idea what to do for him, but I felt it'd be so fun to figure it out. For his typing, he was obviously going to be a bug type, obviously, no choice there. The other person had suggested a fighting type. Funny type idea you got there. But have you considered this? So I got some bug types, specifically caterpillar Pokemon for references, and also a bunch of dragon types. Believe it or not, all the caterpillar Pokemon are really small, and they look small, and I wanted to avoid that. I wanted him to look massive. So obviously dragon types. By the way, also, bless Rayquaza, please, because I would not have been able to do this without him. He is a lifesaver. So I had an idea for the body, but I had literally no idea what to do with the head at the time. So I originally wanted him to have like the big bug eyes like Caterpillar, but it kind of looked wrong, so I gave Howdy just the same eyes as Poppy. I originally wanted to give him like a horn, but it felt out of place and unnecessary with the antenna. I also struggled with the arm since I was mostly using Rayquaza as a ref, and the Rayquaza arm thing just wasn't working out. By the way, Rayquaza, I still love you, thank you. I decided to turn to Dialga for some reference, just give him more chonky legs that are simplified. They feel more like coherent and better, and just overall a better shape. Gave him little fins for a little extra and finished him up. I love him very much. I actually love Howdy so much. I just want to make make it into an original species almost, because I love him so much. He's so cute. Howdy, the trading Pokemon. These Pokemon are known for setting up dens in very high traffic areas. They like to collect items and funny stories. These Pokemon are known for trading things that they find more valuable than the thing they already have, such as just funny things that they enjoy, or even just stories and jokes. These Pokemon are also quite gentle. Even after being stolen from, they will not harm anybody, and are only incredibly upset about the situation and will refuse to talk to you again. Alright, next is... Okay. I wasn't looking forward to doing Barnaby. He's one of my favorite Welcome Home characters, and I want to do him justice, but there's just one problem. Despite Barnaby being my favorite, I completely forgot to brainstorm for him, and yeah, I didn't have any ideas when going off this. I didn't even know what to get for references, really. I actually did try brainstorming for a bit, and then I decided to just wing it because I had no idea what to do because the brainstorming only made things worse. Since I had no ideas, I relied too heavily on the original pose of Barnaby. I was originally going to give Barnaby a big bubble on his head like a circus feel, but I wussed out and didn't end up doing it, and I think it would look cool. Oh, by the way, Barnaby's a rock water type. I just thought it'd be cool. Also, I didn't have very many ideas. I very quickly realized he wasn't looking like a Pokemon. I tried more shapes, to make the silhouette seem cooler, and hopefully I fixed it a little bit. One thing I decided I really wanted, though, was to make the water stones kind of incorporated into the design a tiny bit, because it'd be fun, a little reference, and it would be like Barnaby spots in those places, so I thought that was pretty cool. That's like the only thing I had set in stone, really. I'm not funny. I actually ended up liking most of Barnaby's design, except for his face. It's not a very Pokemon-y face and just looks more like a normal furry, so I feel like if I just changed the face up a tiny bit, it would have looked better. So, I still think he's cute though. I think I did a good job. Sigester, the joke Pokemon. These Pokemon often live at the bottom of big bodies of water. They often enjoy coming up to land, where they will perform jokes and other fun activities for people living nearby. These Pokemon also enjoy teasing and pulling pranks on the people on the surface. However, they tend to avoid anything that might be harmful. People believe that they can swim due to their water typing. In reality, they sink like rocks. It's time for the thumbnail, boy! Everyone's been waiting. Wally was actually the first Fakemon I did for this project. He's also the most straightforward. I just made him a psychic fairy type, and he's also a mythical Pokemon, so I could get away with more details on his smaller body. For his design, I just took Wally and changed his proportions to be more Pokemon-esque. I shrugged the color palette, and I ended up being really proud of Wally. He's just a little guy. Perform, the seeing Pokemon. Despite how often this Pokemon is seen, not much is known about it. It seems to be very friendly and loves eye contact. Some people go as far to have staring contests with it. However, no victories have ever been reported. Some people believe that the staring contests are an incredibly dangerous idea, due to the theory that it eats with its eyes. However, this has not been proven. Surprise! Guess who's not done? I did home as well. I bet you all are thinking, what type did I make him? Ghost maybe? No. Grass steel. That's what I did. Because, houses are made of wood, which is made out of trees, and then there's pipes, which are obviously steel, I think. I'm no builder. Like Barnaby, I had no plans or ideas at all. And you know what? Barnaby was way easier than Home. Home was difficult and gave me one heck of a problem. I had a lot of sketches that I really hated, because none of them were like Pokemon, and it was I just struggled so much. One thing I wanted to keep, though, was make it possible for all these Pokemon to live inside of it like a kangaroo or something. Because I thought it'd be really cool and, thematic, obviously. Also, by the way, Home's a legendary. Just want some more specification. So I decided to give Home a RAM base for, reasons. I also gave him a giraffe neck to kinda be like a tree stump, and not a reference to the king of all things. Oh, by the way, just to make this clear right now, I know Home does not look like a Pokemon, but I do not care this time, okay? This one is for me. Also, if this makes you feel better, I did try to make it work with the whole Pokemon thing, so... I wanted Home to be a literal home, because it just felt fitting, obviously. So I put literal houses on him, and yeah, he just kind of carries them around. By the way, those are life-size houses. This man is massive, big man. Also, almost every building is a reference to one of the Welcome Home houses, so yeah, here's Home. Homari, the home Pokemon. This Pokemon lives deep in the forest where it stays unmoving. It is covered in houses, which leads people to believe it was an abandoned town at one point. This Pokemon also seems to enjoy when other Pokemon come and live near it. This Pokemon is overprotective of these Pokemon and will care for them to a smothering amount. We hope to learn more about this Pokemon in the future. Wow. That was probably one of the biggest projects I've worked on in a very long time, and probably the biggest one I've ever done on YouTube. I even made a script! I forgot it was there sometimes, but I have it. I hope I don't sound too weird in the video. I don't want to sound robotic or anything. If you have any, tips, just leave them below. I'm going to go through pretty much all the comments. I'm planning on doing, more of these videos where I talk over speed paints and stuff, because they're fun. Even though they take a lot of work, and I may or may not have put this one off for Mom, but it's finished now, so why are you upset? It's not like you were waiting for it. It's not just going to be Pokemon and Welcome Home, although it probably will be. I have plenty of AUs that I want to discuss on video, some of which, like my Magica AU, which I'm just going to make into a full-on comic, so I'm not going to make any discussion videos. It's just going to be its own thing. I might link it eventually if I ever get to that. By the way, be excited, because I'm excited. I'm working on it right now.